mushy.
Hello, snack. Cowboy Bebop wasn't an anime. It was an experience. It was a rite of passage. It was a teenager's first glimpse into the unfair world of being an adult, life, and even love. It was backed by a soundtrack that could trade blows with any contemporary hit song on the Billboard's Top 100 list.
I think it's time we blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Animation sleek and stylish, protagonists that were relatable, ships that broke down just like your car, with subject matter such as finding oneself and facing the past and overcoming the ever-looming reality of loss, regret, and paying bills. There are moments in Cowboy Bebop that are etched into people's memories.
And when a life ends, the star falls and disappears.
Don't say that.
You, Running Rock.
That's not my name. Don't call me that.
His star is about to fall. I have dreamed it.
This is ridiculous. What am I doing here?
Do not fear death. Death is always at our side. When we show fear, it jumps at us faster than light. But if we do not show fear, it casts its eye upon us gently and then guides us into infinity.
As defining moments that still remain relevant 20 years later after it originally aired. For many people, Cowboy Bebop is one of the greatest animes of all time, and I am inclined to agree. It's up there with Akira, Ghost in the Shell, Grave of the Fireflies. The list goes on. Sword of the Stranger. You feel me? You know what I'm talking about. X. You've been there, dude. Remember the fight scene in X, the last one? You got X Japan playing in the background, and it's over in one cut. Dude's head comes flying off into the anime. Even the start of Cowboy Bebop as a series was rocky at best. The show met resistance from Bandai and Sunrise because they wanted to sell model kits. And when they got a load of the designs, and they're like, why are the ships in such tattered condition? How come they break down? We want to be able to sell merchandise. But the director stuck to his guns and his creativity with this. To tackle a show like this and make a live action adaptation, you need to either be A, passionate about the source material, or B, an ass-backward company that thinks they know pop culture because they own a streaming service. And here we f***ing are, children. The first episode starts off as all the teaser trailers would lead you to believe. Netflix's idea of how to do Bebop was to make it an action comedy.
I was thinking a 60-40 split. Going my way, of course.
Do not shoot her.
Please?
No.
The first 10 minutes of the first episode is pretty much the Cowboy Bebop movie's first 10 minutes. Instead of it being a corner store, it's a casino. Well, the original clip was like 4 minutes, 10 seconds. God, I need a life. That I even remember that off the top of my head. And if you watch these Cowboy Bebop movies, which I'm pretty sure if you're a Bebop fan, you've seen them backwards and forwards. Where like they're in there, they fight, the old lady gets held at gunpoint.
Don't you get it? I'm gonna splatter Grandma!
That's your hostage?
Spike.
Was she like 80? I mean, she looks like she's led a very full, rich life, haven't you, ma'am?
Spike!
I mean, you got kids, right? You're ready to go.
Mean, what are you?
Just a humble bounty hunter, ma'am.
Who are you?
Just a humble bounty hunter, ma'am.
The fight scenes scream fan-made film set for YouTube. Stiff and wooden to the point where you think, wow, they really don't know the source material. Spike Spiegel fights in the style of Jeet Kune Do, which is centered on fast takedowns, no wasted movement or time, or ineffective tactics. Punches are so telegraphed in this show they could have their own goddamn phone line. Also, Spike Spiegel in this show is played by a 50-year-old actor, so you may as well call him Geriatric Spike. It don't make no sense. Spike in the anime had a devil-may-care attitude that seemed carefree on the surface due to his age and demeanor, but underneath the facade, he was hiding a pain he couldn't share with anyone. His past was an ever-looming specter in his present life, and he kept himself, involved in action or doing something or going somewhere. Spike was always kind of busy or out and about, or willing to throw himself in harm's way. This is a common tactic of a high-functioning depressive. If you keep yourself busy, you don't focus on how you feel. And I speak from experience on that. I did stuff on motorcycles that should have gotten me killed tons of times before, and I genuinely didn't give a damn if I lived or died. Neither did Spike. There was a woman on his mind that he couldn't shake off, and Lord knows I know that feeling all too damn well. This Spike Spiegel feels like an old dude acting like Spike. It doesn't work. You wouldn't cast a dog to play a cat, but Hollywood today seems to only have a few actors on tap to play any role. And that's why we have Ryan Reynolds doing tons of movies playing Ryan Reynolds. The average consumer would say, oh, this show isn't meant for you. That makes absolutely no sense. The whole point of remaking anything is to tap into the core audience, you brainlet. They want people who actually care about this to tune in, to make sure they can get some sort of view. And because they have no ideas of their own, so they gotta piggyback off of something else to push an agenda or a narrative. I was gonna try and avoid spoilers, but there's no way to do that because I lose my mind halfway through this. I noticed that Netflix took a few liberties, to say the least, with the story behind many of the characters. I don't care for it at all. Remakes to me are like copying someone else's homework, and they've already got all the correct answers for you, right? But then you go in and have the bright idea of adding stuff that's completely wrong. Like, and Washington crossed the Delaware River, where he shot Alien and Predator in the back of the head with dual-wielding muskets. And then he came out as non-binary. And that's how the West was won and America became a nation. I was iffy on the idea of making Jet Black actually black, because for God's sakes, that's so on the nose. Even a budding comedian working an open mic night would avoid such a punchline. But he's actually the only good actor in this entire show. But the weird thing is Jet Black has a kid now and an ex-wife, and his ex-wife was taken from him by like a partner who also put him in jail for 5 years. It's like this whole weird thing that it just comes out of left field. You're like, what? That's not how. And Jet Black, there's like a whole episode to trying to get a doll for Jet Black's kid. And in the anime, Jet Black was a detective or cop, I can't fully remember, and he was with the woman he loved, but he was so dedicated to his job or focused on it that they didn't have kids, and she wanted to have kids. She wanted to build a life with him, and he was just, grinding away, which led to her leaving him for someone else, and the guy became a criminal, ironically, and, Jet Black busts him, which it creates this whole emotional dynamic, the woman you're in love with that left you is now dating a dude who's a criminal and you're a bounty hunter. That's a story. Not, oh, we gotta get my daughter a oogly boogly doll. But then again, what do you expect? Netflix adaptation. But I guess since Spike Spiegel's like 50 years old, having Jet Black be like the father figure to everyone in the crew wouldn't make sense because everybody's probably older than him.
So lucky that I ran into you.
Oh, no.
Do you mind? Ugh. What is that?
Water.
Beer, thank God.
Please, help yourself.
Honestly, like I said before, and I'm going to reiterate it, the show feels more like a comedy remake than Bebop itself. The actress who plays Faye comes off as annoying rather than a femme fatale.
Can we stop this cruel game? For God's sakes! I can't stand to see him in all this pain! You vicious bastards!
But I will say, every time she calls geriatric Spike Spiegel pretty boy as if he's young and hot, I giggle. I mean, it's a role that's meant for a good-looking 20-something-year-old guy. And we have a 50-year-old dude in the role. Oh, look at Spike, he's so young and hot. Meanwhile, the dude has more cracks in his face than a New York City highway. Oh, by the way, Faye can also throw down now in hand-to-hand combat on the same level as Spike Spiegel, even though she doesn't know martial arts, because women are so strong, they don't need training in martial arts to fight a martial artist. Netflix. Further into the episodes, you finally see Vicious. He looks like a cosplayer from San Diego Comic-Con. And as soon as they introduce Vicious, he's supposed to seem, you know, dangerous and cutthroat and everything. He doesn't. The whole scene doesn't come off ominous, but sad. Also, why is Julia with Vicious? She was on the run from him the whole damn time. This isn't an adaptation. It's a bad fan fiction that should have been left on Tumblr where it goddamn belongs. But on the plus side, the music's good. When I made it to episode 2, I found that another character had been drastically changed. Gren, I don't care to say it anymore right now. He was changed into a non-binary character. Or trans, I don't know. And I don't care anymore. You know? The dude was a war criminal who was forced against his will to take experimental drugs, which gave him breasts, which he tried to hide. But he used it to his advantage when he tried to kill Vicious in the anime. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. You won't regret it. It's actually good, unlike the Netflix show. He also took a job as a saxophone player. Faye was attracted to him because he was a good-looking guy, because Faye was heterosexual in the anime, but she's gay now. And anyway, you know, he was a musician, and a damn good one. Now he's just like a hostess at a normal jazz club that's run by a black chick who I don't remember being in the anime whatsoever, but Netflix adaptation, another woman in power. And they were also on a prison planet that was full of all men. They were like little to no women on the planet. See, that was a point where they could have had transsexuals and it would have made perfect sense. Non-binary people there. Instead, it's a prison planet, so there'd be a lot of toxic masculinity, and Lord knows Netflix wants to avoid that. So we don't even go to that horrible planet. I think it was Jupiter. Anyway. Oh, by the way, Julia's married to Vicious. Yeah, Netflix just doing whatever the hell they want. And Vicious talks like David Bowie and shows tremendous signs of weakness and emotional instability. Like constantly. Like he doesn't come off as vicious. And by the second episode, there's a clear lack of understanding of the characters and what motivates them, to the point of where it's mind-blowing. This doesn't feel like it's a love letter to fans. This is literally just Netflix going, hey, Cowboy Bebop is popular. Let's make a crappy television show and then do whatever the hell we want with the source material because we bought the rights to make it. And Netflix is only doing this because they can't get any more superheroes. All right, remember when Netflix was focusing on like Luke Cage and all this other crap, Jessica Jones and Daredevil? That's over now. All right, Disney's got the rights and they don't want to let out their characters anymore. So Netflix has made the jump to anime to screw that 6 ways from Sunday. Oh, sorry. And I think like they made Vicious and Julia married to make him seem really, really bad because, like, you know, killing people indiscriminately wasn't enough. Vicious is also now a wife beater. So you can really root against him now. Like, the characters doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. The writing's predictable. It's trash. Vicious has mood swings like Kylo Ren, dude. You know, and it makes no sense. This guy who barely spoke or showed any emotion, except for when he was fighting Spike, all of a sudden has like tantrums. Like, what the hell is this? Like, for real.
あなたを信じてた。信じるものなどない。信じる必要も。この世に信じるものなど。
I mean, Vicious almost seemed like a blank slate, and that's what made him dangerous. You couldn't read his emotions. Like, screw it. Now we just basically have Kylo Ren, white hair, whatever. After watching episode 3, I had it officially with this show. I mean, it's nothing more than a fanfic written by someone who has such scary great ideas that they needed someone else's ideas to piggyback off of, and then push their own sort of political and narrative beliefs. There's articles going around like, oh, they fixed things the anime got wrong. How can the anime get anything wrong when it was someone else's creativity? It was someone else's work. Here's what you got wrong with your idea. Oh, what did you come up with? Nothing. I'm going to rewrite your stuff, though, because I'm so smart. I dated a chick like that. She would literally watch me edit, and then she'd go, you should do this, 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 and this. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. You want to do that? Oh, no. And meanwhile, what I was doing worked. I said this on Twitter, and I still stand behind it. If Netflix writers were given the opportunity, they would paint over the Mona Lisa and call it an improvement. There are so many moments in this show where you're just like, why? Why would you do this? Case in point, the famous church battle between Spike and Vicious. Iconic, right? And then like Spike gets thrown out of the church window. Vicious throws him out with one hand by his skull, bro. And he's like falling through the window. The music's playing. He's having flashbacks to Julia. And you're like, oh my God, the layers, the emotions. This scene done by Netflix is completely destroyed. Every piece of it is trash. You should be ashamed of yourself if you worked on this. I don't care if it hurts someone's feelings. Like, oh my God, dude. How do you ruin something so good? You just had to recreate it and get actors that could do it well. That's another hurdle we're going to kind of ignore for now. The acting's so wooden, it gave me a new appreciation for Keanu Reeves.
I know Kung Fu.
Basically, Vicious gets shot, right? The dude in the anime, Vicious gets shot, he shrugs it off in the anime. In the show, Vicious gets shot and he screams like a bitch.
You're still alive!
It's like one of those iconic scenes, like the last fight in Ghost in the Shell, and Netflix just pissed all over it. Instead of like Vicious getting up after being shot and throwing Spike through a window, he just rolls around and screams, and then he picks up Spike's gun, and Julia shows up and then shoots him. Then she talks to Spike a little bit. I don't know if I'll play you the clip. I don't know if I can, because you know how things are. And then she shoots Spike and he falls out of the window then. And like they leave her in the window of the church looking down at Spike as he falls rather than Spike flashbacking to Julia. It's stupid. By the way, I took these clips from Lawfit Pixels on Twitter. Thanks for making them available, because there was no way in hell I was going to make it that far into the show to do like side-by-side comparisons of the scenes, because I was just that angry at it. So let's do a rundown of what else they changed to save you and me time, because if anything, this has become 20 minutes of garbage. See, I knew it. Faye is now gay. I know, shocker, right? God forbid she stayed attracted to men. She's attracted to Gren in the anime, but well, he enjoys wearing man panties now. So, tough luck, sister. Try the lesbo next door. Now, someone replied to this by saying, just to point out, the woman Faye sleeps with would be considered incredibly predatory and creepy if it was a dude. All right, and I'm sitting there like, okay, so creepy guy bad, creepy lesbian good. Ed, Radical Ed is now a cringe fest. You can't take a character like Radical Ed and translate them to reality, because it just comes off cringy. That level of youthful exuberance only works in animation. I don't know why it's so hard to understand, but hell, the people at Netflix are paid to make trash decisions.
Spike Spiegel! Yes, you are. You're Spike, Cowboy, Bounty Hunter.
The whole show is cringe. Ain's origins would change because why not? Now, you might have remembered the actress that played Faye Valentine. You know, talking too much, then pissing off people online. Well, she's doing it again because she's a bright one. Cowboy Bebop star has a message for fans who think Netflix is ruining the anime. Our show was a love letter. Sure.
Try this on for size, Fryman. Or for 59 cents more, try the super size.
Man, I feel weird.
Quieter, I'm transmitting rage.
It's like the love letter you get from your wife when you're in the army. A Dear John letter. That's the hell it is. Speaking exclusively to Digital Spy, live action actress Daniela, I'm not remembering her last name, has stated that a good way to not compare Netflix to the anime by just not thinking about it. Okay.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
First of all, no one is ruining anything, she said. Yeah, you obviously weren't a fan of the original show. You were horrible in the show, too. It's not personal. You were bad. You were one of the least likable characters. The anime already exists. It's there. You can love it forever. Our show is a love letter to the anime. No, your show is trying to capitalize on the popularity of the anime, hoping that Netflix can make money on it. Nothing about this was out of love. If it was done out of love, it would have been true to the source material. Okay? Lord of the Rings, director Peter Jackson. That was a love letter to something. What Netflix did isn't a love letter. I've watched Lord of the Rings, like, from beginning to end. Oh my God, how many times? Probably like 4 or 5 times. And each movie's like 3 hours, so yeah, I pissed away a lot of my life. That's a love letter to something. Admittedly, it doesn't cover everything correctly, but you can tell Peter Jackson gave a shit about Lord of the Rings. This Netflix show does not give me that feeling at all. Anyway, there's no right or wrong way to do it. You can watch the anime first. You can watch the anime last. You can be a huge fan of the anime and enjoy our show. You can also know nothing about the anime and still dive into what we've done. Don't. I wholeheartedly recommend to you to watch the anime. The show is a bastardization. This is probably as bad as Netflix's Death Note. I'm not kidding. I tried to give the show a fair shot, but you've seen these clips. You've seen the trailers. You've seen everything. This show sucks. And that's on a personal level. I loved Cowboy Bebop. I have it on Blu-ray, for God's sakes. Cowboy Bebop was great. It was a wonderful time in my life that I discovered that anime. I found that music, and I got immersed into one of the best animes ever made, bar none. And I came into this knowing it would be bad, you know, but this is real bad. Like, this show is so bad, I would rather play Battlefield 2042 for like 2 hours straight. This is bad. And I think for a lot of people, it's bad on a personal level. Because Cowboy Bebop was so influential. It was like, it's crazy, man. You know, it's hard to explain something that is just probably a part of many people's lives. It was probably a door for many people to get into anime. It was when anime was finally getting respect in America. Because before then, me and my friends would have to import, you know, VHS tapes and stuff like that when we were young. This show sucks. Like, everyone involved should be ashamed on some level. Everything they've done to this show was a bastardization. But the black dude who played Jet Black, he's a good actor, though. That guy was holding the thing down. I dare say he was the only one who understood his character fully. The Cowboy Bebop star Mason Alexander says the show is righting the wrongs of the anime. Only the hubris of this fantastic, scary, great actor that most likely in the next 3 years we won't know exists has decided to let us know that the show has been fixed by them and Netflix. Ah, yes. These people who wrote the script for this abomination called a live adaptation have the absolute gall to say that. Jesus H. Crackers. You know, if anyone there had any real talent for making stories, I don't know, you'd be writing original pieces. But since you're all creatively bankrupt hacks who know that every one of the original Netflix shows that aren't based on anyone else's IPs get canceled literally in a season, and you haven't even heard of these shows, don't believe me? Google search it. There's a couple of them that I did not even know existed. That's how bad they stinked. Another girl boss TV show nobody knew existed. But now we can give Faye the girl boss attitude, and not just that, make her a lesbian. Because why not? Okay, calm down, dude. I think my dog just vomited. The poor thing watched Cowboy Bebop with me. Thankfully, Netflix's new take on Cowboy Bebop has taken the opportunity to overhaul Gren's, I can't even say it correctly, backstory and portrayal fully as non-binary character who is also played by a non-binary actor. Because now we need representation for everything. Remember when acting meant you were an actor and you could play a role? Not anymore, honey. We need you to be the character completely. so we can get our woke points because a few people shed some tears at a Dave Chappelle joke, and now we need to make them feel better about themselves because, being able to represent yourself is a crazy out-of-date idea. Project your whole identity on other things. That's the American way now, as the Chinese sharpen the spear and get ready to take over. But don't worry, honey. You'll be able to work in a slave sweatshop. And then when you can't work no more, they'll harvest your organs. Anyway, it felt really affirming, Mason tells us, when we asked about their initial casting. I think it's rare for people to get it right when it comes to casting queer identities to play and tell a great story. To have such an iconic queer-coded role, I hate that phrase, queer-coded and gay-coded. It's literally used to make any character you want to be what you want them to be. Oh, he's gay-coded. What proof do you have? He wore pink on Saturday. Oh boy, I'm in trouble and I don't care anymore. I've had it. I'm in a raw mood, dude. I watched Cowboy Bebop, and the further in you get in the show, the more you realize the people doing it are assholes. And by opening queer person, it hits the gender confusion outside of the story. Wrong. But in America, that means you're gay-coded. Are you Are you a victim of war crimes and sexual trauma? Guess what? You're gay! God, Netflix writers are hacks. They're hacks. You don't believe me? No, I don't even want to recommend the show to you. I was going to go watch the show because this show, it's garbage. I tried to give it a fair shot, but the deeper I got in, the more trash it became. It was literally upsetting me. I forgot a funny tidbit for you viewers because you deserve a laugh. A few days back, a guy by Joe's posted this tweet that was most likely a joke, but I decided to run with it anyway. That's why I posted my tweet in the form of a question. Joe's made a tweet saying a lot of people work really hard and poured their hearts into the show. Just say it's not for me and move on. By the way, the guy's avatar is, a member of the Insane Clown Posse. Obviously it's a joke, but whatever. And he goes, okay, FedEx showed up on a Saturday morning, and y'all, he then posts a photo of what appears to be a letter from Netflix saying thank you for supporting the show and blah, blah, blah. So I go along with it and post, bro, is Netflix really out here searching Twitter, looking for positive messages about Cowboy Bebop and sending out mugs and letters of appreciation? Exclamation point and question mark, laughing face, and skull emojis. Hashtag Cowboy Beflop. Because I felt creative that day. I wanted to make a hashtag. Matt Jarbo scurries in. The random boulder collector decides to give me what for. Idiots like It's a Gundam trying to dunk on a guy who's clearly trolling. For f***'s sakes, you overreactionaries are the greatest marks in history. Hashtag Cowboy Bebop Netflix. Good old Matt got 8 likes for that. Huzzah! I was roasted. I was suffering from 3rd-degree burns. How could I ever recover? Santiago goes, Matt, do you hate It's a Gundam? Matt goes, I don't hate him, but he's a moron. Ah, yes. We want to talk about moronic things. Somehow managing to get a YouTube channel at 100K subscribers and somehow getting views with the personality of a dying mosquito on the ass of a water buffalo, and then ruining it and killing your own career. I would dare say that is on the side of moronicism. I am merely trying to make funny tweets on Twitter because that's what I do most of the time. My last tweet was a black guy claiming he had sex with a lesbo. My last tweet was a black guy claiming he had sex with Alexa, which were all of his YouTube thumbnails. Does this look like a page you take seriously? But, whatever, baby. I then clarified my tweet for him because most people on Twitter don't understand anything, really. Like, even if you are posting something to be an ass, they just assume, whoa, he really thinks these things. He's a reactionary. Where was he on January 6th, I wonder? Oh, well. I then let everyone know that Daddy Matt was mad at me and posted it up and let the hilarity ensue. The thing that was weird is that he was bothered by me continuing a stupid meme on a mega corporation. And frankly, they deserve to be made fun of for the Cowboy Bebop show. Like, how could you defend a show this bad? But whatever, you know. Different strokes for different folks, I guess. This video is sponsored by Ridge Wallet, making sure that me being on the internet is somewhat profitable. Now I have 2 bags of packaged tuna. These wallets can hold up to 12 cards. They come in 30 different stylistic colors. I'm showing you burnt titanium and 18 karat gold because that's how large I'm living. I'm hood rich. These wallets have over 40,000 5-star ratings. Bulletproof, RFID blocking technology. You could take a chainsaw to it. I don't know why you would, but the option's there if it ever really, you know, like if your wife left you and you decided she wasn't even getting your Ridge wallet. Oh wait, no, it would survive the chainsaw. Forget that. Sorry. Go to ridgewallet.com/itsagundam and use their unique promo code itsagundam to save 10% off of your order on your next purchase. Free worldwide shipping and returns if you don't like the wallet.